All right. Hello there, everyone. Welcome back to Chris Allen recap number 33, right? Yes. Chris Allen recap number 33. So, how do we start this one? I guess let's start with the image we have on screen here. So, this image here is the American woodcock. And this has absolutely nothing to do with what I'm going to be talking about. I've debated doing this. I've debated not doing this. I've went over it 100 times in my head. Basically, there's no real reason for me making this Chris Allen recap other than really to touch base. I was gonna try to think of a reason to make this, maybe... And there is some things I would like to discuss, but they weren't enough by themselves for a Chris Allen recap, but I wanted to make this one anyway. Just to free form and talk. So, excuse me. I do have my dinner near me, so I might be munching on that a little bit. This one's gonna be really messy. I feel like this Chris Allen recap will be all over the place, because there's a lot of reasons. Hopefully we'll go into them. But to put it bluntly, to touch base, like I said, I am really, really not in a good place mentally. I mean, physically, I'm fine, you know? I've got good health. I'm a little fat, and I'm small, but, you know, one of those can't be changed. One of the other ones is really hard to change. I'll let you figure out which ones those are. But, I have the American woodcock here just for a little bit of happiness. Because that's so rare in my days right now. And we'll get into it. We'll probably get into a lot of stuff. Again, I don't know if I'm even going to post this one. This might go on for a long time. It's going to be very messy. And I thought about it. I think about a lot of things. My mind, unfortunately, I would say, is always thinking. It never stops thinking. I count it as a blessing and a tragedy. So, the blessing is, you know, at least my mind is working. And this will go into what I'm about to say after this. But at least my mind is working. But the tragedy is, it's always working and thinking mostly of bad things. And when it is thinking of good things, I'm in a spot where I don't write them down and my mind forgets it. There's so many things that I think are great ideas that I would love to get out into the world, but I just forget them because at the time I'm thinking of them, whether I'm walking somewhere or I'm just, you know, daydreaming at work, because that's all I fucking do for the most part. It's a shame I don't, like, get them down to the point where I can remember them so I can say them or put them down somewhere else to get them out there, but it is what it is. So, one of the thoughts I had that I actually did remember, because I felt like this was important, was when there is something you want to do, you will find 101 reasons why you should do it. When there's something you don't want to do, you will find 101 reasons not to do it. The problem is, what if you're unsure of something? I've been unsure of a lot of things recently. The first of which is whether I should make this one and whether I should post it if it comes out well. But I was thinking, right? There's reasons to do it and there's reasons not to do it. And then the problem becomes, which one do you choose? There's a lot of existential questions I'm going to be going over, but I thought, for me, at least with this, the reasons to do it outweigh the reasons not to do it. So even though this might serve no purpose, that's one of the reasons I'm telling myself not to do it. The reason I am telling myself to do it, one of the many ones, is it could serve a purpose. If not for others, then for myself. For, I guess, venting purposes or whatnot. But we hopefully will have a lot to talk about. There's a lot on my mind currently, too, that I'm remembering that I want to say. We'll see if I remember to keep saying it. But I thought, hey, you know, I'm bored. I'm not really doing anything else. So why not make it? And again, if for no one else, because I do hope at the end of the day, I mean, no one watches these really anyway, but I do hope at the end of the day that this could help someone. And if it doesn't, hopefully it helps myself. I have this constant want, I would say, that I want to have justification for my actions. As logical as I am, and as logical as I think I am, I'm somewhat emotional. And the emotion part is the difficult one to grasp, because I would say more than not I'm a logical person, but once the emotions come into it, that's when everything gets mucked up, because emotions and logic don't mix very well. But in general, I would say, I don't even know where I was going with this. Yeah, I don't know. I've been in a really bad mental spot, and there's reasons for that. So it calls into question what's bad and what's good, right? So I'm not going to include names here for privacy's sake, I guess. And I don't mean to flame anyone. If I end up flaming anyone, that's not the purpose. But someone recently told me, why do you feel bad? Why are you feeling bad about these things? You shouldn't feel bad. You are complaining about this, and that, which, if you don't know me, I'm a professional complainer. I'll complain about almost anything. Which then calls into question, what do I like, what do I want? Which, I ask all these questions, but there's never a real answer. But anyway, they asked me, why are you sad? And I thought about that. And I would say, I'm sad because obviously, and it sounds simple, I'm unhappy. The question then comes, why am I unhappy? Now, what I feel like a lot of people do is when they're unhappy, it's because something is not how they want it. If things were how you wanted them, you'd be happy. Now, sometimes people get what they want and they're unhappy. And I think that's because eventually, if they get what they want and they're unhappy, then they didn't really want it, or they didn't really know how it was. If you know you're going to get something and it's going to make you unhappy, you're not going to want it. However, if you want something, you get it, and it makes you unhappy, that means you didn't know how it really was. So, barring what I just said, in general, I'm sad because I'm unhappy, because things are not the way I want them. Now, granted, if things were the way I wanted them, would I be happy? I don't know. But I'm definitely not happy the way things are. But then that calls into issue. It calls into many issues. But one of the main things that I just said was I'm always looking for external justification, right? Even for making this. I would say I want someone's approval, which is tough. I'm at a point where I don't know what's right and what's wrong. And I'm also extremely unhappy. Let's stick with the unhappy part. Let's stick with the sad part here, because I'm going all over the place. So, I'm sad because things are not the way I want them to be. Now, when that happens, what people usually do, if they can't change it, is they blame the world. Well, not always, but I feel like sometimes people blame the world. There's a lot of things that could happen. One of them is blaming the world. They blame external factors, like if someone's unhappy, let's just say they're unhappy because they can't afford a new car. They can blame their job, they can blame their society, they can blame the economy, they can blame their leaders in power who are making the rules, they could blame their employer, they could blame their family, they can blame, a lot of stuff, right? But it's all external. Now, while I do think some of those external things that, could be blamed are blamable, especially in our time, which we'll also get into. I think that for the most part, though, many people blame things externally and they don't look internally. And again, I think there is a point where there are some things externally beyond our control. However, I personally tend to go inward, and this is the other half of it. Or not other half, it's the other part. Half makes it seem like it's an equal distribution, which it's not. I go more inward than blaming outward stuff. Obviously, sometimes I sit here and be like, yeah, curse the world, this is messed up, I'm just unlucky, this, and that. Which in certain senses I think I am. But I'm more unhappy with myself. I say, and I think, that the world is part and part, and this goes into extremes too, but part and part, the world is a series of you get placed into a circumstance beyond your control, right? Either from birth or from what happens into your life. There's going to be things outside of your control. How you react to them and what you do is within your control for the most part. And this is also what I'm going to get into. Now, if people really wanted things to change, I think they could change them. Now, again, this isn't for everyone. So let's say we took people and all of them said they wanted to run 10 miles, right? Which the human body is perfectly capable of if you're healthy and have no problems. Some of them could do it. Some of them can't do it. Why is that? That's because some of them either, are healthy enough to do it. Some of them are unhealthy enough but will push themselves to do it. But some of them just can't. Some of them will drop, and even if they wanted to, they can't. This is a really bad example. I apologize. Again, this is going to be all over the place. I'm going to apologize profusely because I'm not in a good state right now. And I always think I'm wrong with things, but we'll get into it, hopefully. But essentially, what I'm trying to say, let me lasso myself back into some coherent thought, is there's things in the world beyond your control, and no matter what you do, even if you're like the best, sometimes you're just shit out of luck, right? So, going back to how I take things very personally. I say, for most people, they can change what they want if they put in enough effort, if they want it enough, or if they try hardly enough. I believe that. For most people, unless obviously and even then, it really begs into question what are the limits of this, because I was watching this thing at work, because I had nothing better to do, like I don't have anything better to do now, really. I was watching this thing at work about this guy. It's this black guy who was born with no legs. He was severely bullied when he was younger, and he became a wrestler. And he only has, he's only a torso and up. He has no legs, he has no bottom half. And he's still a wrestler, and he got, I would say, viral off of it. He got famous, and I'm pretty sure, obviously, you don't know what is going on behind the scenes, but as far as I could tell from what is shown on camera, he's doing very well for himself now. He's happy, he's feeling fulfilled, it's great. And you would think, anyone else in that position, or most people in that position, wouldn't even try to become wrestlers, and even those who did would fail. But unless, people are losing on purpose for him, which I don't think they are, he's a great wrestler, I think. Now, obviously, you have to take it into context. I don't think he's going to be wrestling the WWE, but in the wrestling competitions he's went to, he's done very well. And it makes me question, what are the limits? So then it gets into someone's mental. I think people are capable of a lot of things. Just, taking away personality and everything, right? Taking away a person's fears and inhibitions. I think people are capable of many, many, many things. And our biggest enemy is ourselves. At least for me, I feel that way. I don't know if it's for everyone, but I think it is. I think the biggest enemy we have is ourselves. And the problem is, I think myself is like an unbeatable boss. So, as I keep saying, and as I have said before, I take a lot of things very personally, very, what's the right word? Not introspective. I guess introspectively. Whenever something happens, I blame myself. Let's just put it a simple way. I blame myself, right? Like, I'm not happy because I don't have this. No, hold on. My family's here. Oh, hitora. My family wants to give me fruit. I mean, with how long this is going to go, they might interrupt me a couple more times, so we'll see. But anyway. That messed up my whole train of thought. So, I take it very towards the self. So, if I'm not happy where I'm at, I have to do something to change it. And this is where the problem comes in. I don't think I can change things. I'm at such a point mentally where I don't know if I'm right or wrong. It's almost like I need external validation. I feel like a zombie, in a sense. I've spent 5 months at my job now, and I thought this is what I wanted. It's not what I thought. Well, I didn't want it. I thought it would be the best thing to settle for. And I was wrong. Another example of, me wanting something and me being wrong. But I was always saying when I was unemployed, I just want a job that pays minimum, and then I could just live out the rest of my days, and then I could eventually die, and I could live a nice, peaceful, simple, boring life. Because I thought if I didn't get a job that had minimum, first of all, I didn't even think I could get one. But, realistically, anyone really could. It's just they're not going to enjoy it. But we'll get to that too. So I thought once I got a minimum job, I would calm down. I would be less stressed. I would, be okay. And, turns out I wasn't. So it then calls into question, again, why, when I think of why this person asked me why am I sad, it's because I'm unhappy because I don't have what I want or I'm not where I am. And what makes me even more unhappy is I don't believe, or I don't think I myself as a person am strong enough or am even willing enough to change, to become that way, or to get what I want. And it's really putting me down. It's the best way I could describe this, because I feel like this whole thing is illogical. And this is where my, logic side is trying to come in. Because this doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense to me logically, but emotionally, it's how I'm feeling. And it just puts me even more in the dumps. So, what am I trying to say with this? Basically, I'm upset at myself extremely. And I'm so upset at myself that it leads to a cycle where I don't change, or I try to change in very little ways, but things are just getting me down. So I want to bring up the topic of subjectivity. Things are subjective, right? I would argue if you take someone else, and many people have said this to me, if you take someone else and you put them in my position, they would be happy, because my position, in many respects, is a good position. And that itself depresses me, because it makes me think, on top of a lot of things, it makes me think there's something wrong with me. And I do honestly believe there is at this point, with how bad I've been feeling and how long it's lasted. It makes me think, why am I feeling this way when I have these things? It then makes me think, okay, these things don't make me happy. But then because of everyone saying like, oh, you shouldn't be unhappy, you shouldn't be sad because you have these things, it makes me question, am I wrong? Am I wrong with what I'm thinking? Which, I'm a pretty negative and harsh person, I would think to myself, and I answer that as yes, I am wrong. But despite saying I'm wrong, where does that lead me? It leads me nowhere. Because I don't know what to do next after saying I'm wrong, and then I just feel bad. And then my thought is, okay, let me try and find a way to improve myself. And I don't know if it's laziness or what, but I don't improve myself. And I'll tell you what I think it is. Obviously, I think it's a part of laziness, but I think it's also greatly, and I mean extremely, I think it's extremely fear-based. There's days, and again, it makes me question further, where do these feelings come from, right? So, I'm going very off topic again. I mean, I don't even know what the topic is, but I'm getting mixed up. I'm going all over the place. So, let me try and lasso myself back in yet again. Different people react differently to different things. Obviously, no one is the same. We're all different people. What we've gone through has helped shape us, and we react differently to things. So, I think I'm in such a place mentally. First of all, I don't think I'm very strong mentally to begin with. Whether that's just how I am as a person or the things I've went through as I've grown up, I don't know. I honestly can't say. I would have no clue. I'm not trained as a professional to know, and I don't know if trained professionals do know. I don't know enough. But regardless, I think I'm a weak mental person when it comes to dealing with stuff. And then the position I'm in with the things I want and the things I have, which don't make me happy, and the things I'm going through, which are making me even unhappy, is making it worse. So basically, my brain always goes to the bad. And I don't know why it does this. It just does. Maybe it's because of me. Maybe it's not. But again, regardless of what I think or what I don't, it is what it is, and it's how I feel. So I basically think I'm fucked. That's what I basically think. I think for the future, I'm fucked. Like, I'm so scared to do things, and I don't see things changing because I know for the most part how I am. And knowing how you are and not being able, or, well, this begs the question again. Are you not able, or do you not want to? And it's a weird question. And this is relating to changing, right? Are you not able to change, or do you not want to change? With the feelings I have, I feel like I do. Like, I don't want to feel this way most of my days or nearly every day, because that's what it's become. I'm feeling like this almost every day or nearly every day. And then it makes me think, like, okay, how do people go on like this? How can people live this way? And, I would say there's different answers to that. People ignore it, which I don't like to do, and I don't want to do. And I'm unable to do sometimes. Sometimes my brain doesn't shut off. But other times, people look to other sources of, like, self-medication. Sometimes they get help. Sometimes the help works, which I have my own opinions on that, and we'll see if we get to those. But it's a lot of different stuff. So to try and go back to what I was saying, I don't take things well that other people normally do. Now, why that is, I don't know. I have my hypotheses, but we're not going to go over them because we're already almost at the 22-minute mark. So I don't take things very well that other people take fine. For instance, I feel, and I was always an advocate against this, you shouldn't care what people think, but the world doesn't operate that way. If you don't care what people think and you run completely wild, then bad things are going to happen to you. And I'm thinking more along the lines of, like, Freud's id, right? Your id is just what you want, which Freud said was, I believe sex, sleep, eat, fuck, all those things. If we didn't care what people thought of us, if we had no societal restrictions placed upon us by people, then we'd let our id run wild and we'd do, probably things that a lot of people would consider bad. However, we have societal restrictions. We care what people think about us. If not for our own pleasure or, whatever, then it's just to be able to live. Because to a certain extent, if we do what people don't like, then you get arrested because people make the laws. And you can't go against the laws. I don't even know if this is making any sense, but I'm going to keep going. Because, again, I made 101 reasons not to make this, and I made 101 reasons to. Or let's just say this. I made 100 reasons not to make this and 101 reasons to make this. The reasons to make this are still winning out, hopefully. So, the way, like I said, I am is very weak. So, I don't react to things well. Especially socially. I figured out I have a lot of fear, right? With social stuff, I have a shit ton of anxiety. And I overworry and I overthink things to the point where, even logically, if I don't think it's real, the emotional side terrorizes me. Like, I just feel bad, which alters my logic, right? It's gotten to the point where my emotional side has wreaked so much havoc on my mind. I've stepped back and kind of seen that I'm making up logic that's not logical anymore. I'm making logic that's heavily tainted by fear. And I'm making up things that I think are logical that are not. At least I think they're not. I don't know anymore. That are not good, and it's really bugging me. So, like I said, I think I'm fucked for the future. I think, and this is just me being, self-hating. I think that I have this job that's really shitty, pays very low, won't go anywhere. I mean, every day I go and I'm surprised I'm not fired. Even though, logically speaking, it's a very easy job and it's hard to get fired. But I'm surprised I don't get fired. I'm surprised I even do things right. But regardless, I'm not at a place where I want to be. Now, what doesn't help is society itself. Now, this is the part I think I could blame on external factors, right? It's always a question of who really is to blame. I think we'll never know the reality. I think people can get close, but there's never a really right or wrong way to know because there's so much information nowadays. You don't know all the forces at play. Or maybe people do and I'm just the skeptic. Who knows? I'm always going to doubt myself. But I believe that there's so much information out there that people make blanketed statements like, oh, everyone thinks this, oh, this is the way things are, without actually knowing in reality the true statistics of it. And who's to say the statistics that we do know are accurate? Because then it goes into a lot of other things of, can we accurately get information from the population? But again, I'm going all over the place, so let's lasso ourselves back in. So, society, I think, right now, at least from the media, and I think media is a scourge on this earth right now. Media is needed, but what media has become, especially news outlets, is just terrible. And there's a lot of reasons I don't watch the news, but one of the reasons is because they just say really bad things. Sometimes they say good things, but most of the time they say bad things. Now, if you don't know, right now in the world, a lot of things are happening that are not good. Here in the States, at least, and I guess in the world in general. We got fucked by COVID. First of all, let's go all the way back to 2020, right? 2020, I believe, is the year Harambe died, right? Harambe death date. Or was it 2019? It was 2016. Holy shit. The killing of Harambe. Never mind. Yeah, I have no clue what I'm talking about. I apologize. But anyway. So, 2020 was a year that was really bad. I honestly forget why, because again, my mind is all over the place right now. I might be in a manic episode. Who knows? 2020 was bad. 2021... Wait, actually, was 2020 the year of Corona? Coronavirus first year. Okay, now it's saying 1965. No. When did pandemic start? It was in 2020. Okay. That's what I was talking about. So 2020 was the year everything got fucked by COVID, right? Personally, for me, pandemic was great because I stayed inside. I would say I am an introvert through and through. I do have extroverted tendencies. Like, I do like hanging out with friends, and when I'm with friends, I'm very outgoing and stuff. But overall, I like staying inside. I like, chilling. Although it's not what I really want, I can definitely settle for that. And we'll hopefully go back to settling and what I want and stuff like that. But I think that 2020 was the year everyone got fucked, A lot of bad stuff happened. Businesses were forced to close down, couldn't make money, people had bills to pay. Things just went wrong, right? 2021 wasn't that good either. Stuff started opening up. 2022 is here. Stuff is still not good. I think pandemic for the most part is over in people's minds. In terms of the government and all the rules going out, I don't think it's over because they still have the mask mandate here and whatnot, in the States at least, or in New York at least. I don't know about the States because I try and keep away from the news. But overall, people are kind of just done with the pandemic. When I go around the city and everywhere, people do not wear masks unless they're absolutely forced to. Even on the subway where you have to wear a mask to get in, the employees don't care to enforce it on the MTA, and then the people don't care to even wear it sometimes, and no one stops them because everyone's sick of pandemic at this point. People want to get back to a sense of normalcy. However, society is going down a dark path in terms of what affects, I would say, almost everyone, including me, because I'm a part of everyone as much as I don't want to be. I am. And that's the economy. The economy is going to shit. So, again, in external factors, number one, the economy is going to shit. You could argue, Corona helped mess it up and this and that. I would say the people in power kind of don't know what they're doing, and a lot of things are corrupt. I would say, especially in the United States. The top of our government, from what I've seen, and I do not know a lot, I will be the first one to say that. I will be the first one to say, I know basically jack diddly about our government. I don't even know what Democrats and Republicans believe in. All I know is the difference by name. I don't know the actual differences of what they believe in. But I don't think it matters because it's become a point where all that matters is they don't agree on things. Now, granted, again, what they don't agree on could be based on their party, even though I think that's stupid. I think if you join a party, you shouldn't just align with the party's beliefs like a robot. Everyone has their own beliefs, and maybe they might, agree on certain things. I don't think you could just join a party and then become a carbon copy, all the ideas. I agree 100% on all of them of my party, but, that's just my opinion, which, this is all this is, my opinions and me complaining and trying to explain things. But anyway, I think at the top of the government, it's just people being corrupt and trying to one-up each other and not really helping. Now, why do I say that? I say that because the people at the top are so rich, and I'm thoroughly convinced of this. I think many, many rich people, and this is a common saying too. I believe Bill Gates said this, or some rich people said this. I don't remember who, and I don't really want to search it up because it's going to take even more time. But rich people have said the best things for their kids to do is to grow up poor. The best rich people who aren't fucking asswipes, even though that's not like exclusive. If you grow up poor and then become rich, you could still become an asswipe. But the best rich people most of the time, and again, this is like a blanket statement I'm making. I have no statistics to back this up. This is just, what is it called? I forgot the term for the evidence that like you just see, that you don't have like backing for, but it's like your own, like you just see it in the world. Regardless, the best, for the most part, the best rich people in terms of like how they act and how they view the world, I would say, are the people who grew up poor. The people who grew up poor who became rich know both sides of the coin. Most of the people in Congress and, you know, in the top of our government who control a lot of things, I think have only been rich, have been born into rich families with a lot of privilege. I think very little of them have really come from where the common person is. Because things for the common person do not feel good. And again, this might be a difference of it is good and I'm not seeing it or I'm not appreciating it, but I don't think that's the case. I think that they're just trying to one-up each other and fight each other because they disagree on things, and when people disagree, you become, you know, they become your enemy, and you want to one-up them in every way you can, at least legally, or maybe illegally. I don't know how they do it in the government. But I'm getting off topic. Let's focus ourselves. But they do things that really do not help the common person, right? And I've heard from within my group that both sides consider Mitch McConnell the Grim Reaper of the United States. I don't know what that means. I just know the guy is considered to be evil. I don't know why specifically. I just know he does a lot of things and chooses a lot of things that are anti the lower people. So back to what I was saying. Our government, for the most part, and pandemic, and all these other things, have a hand in making things not good for us. You know, chip shortages make prices go up for different things, including for graphics cards for me. But, you know, cars and other stuff, production got slowed down, people lost money, things got tighter. And now what's happening with Ukraine is really putting fear in my mind. So, you know, Ukraine and Russia are basically beefing. I'm not going to say too many opinions on that because this can go very, very long if I start that. And I know very little. I feel like I know very little about everything, but regardless. That is causing, you know, people to get involved as much as they can, even though they don't want to get directly involved because then Russia's going to attack them and Russia's acting crazy. And I really would love to know the whole story because I don't think any one side is evil. Because obviously the U.S. throughout its history has had bad things that it's done, deplorable things, in fact, that like are disgusting. But, you know, and who knows, that's just from what we know, which imagine how much we don't know the U.S. does. The U.S., you know, had internment camps for the Japanese, did a lot. Like, the U.S. is not a freaking star citizen, right? Neither is Russia. But at least because I'm American, I think Russia's worse because of everything I'm seeing. Everything I'm seeing is Russia bad, Russia evil, Russia doing nothing right, Russia being big bullies to Ukraine, this, and that. Meanwhile, Vladimir Putin's over there saying, you know, America bad, America caused this war. I remember they were blaming us for this war, which again, who knows if there's validity to that? There's so many things I don't know. I don't want to assume one side is right because both sides aren't good. But one side's better than the other, I think. So, regardless, because Russia and Ukraine are beefing, it's leading to a lot of hostilities worldwide, and the world is basically on tension because Russia's, you know, flexing itself, and they're saying like, hey, you know, we got nukes, you know, you back off. And then everyone else is saying like, oh, if you use a nuke on us or our allies, we're going to nuke you. And then everyone's going to nuke each other and nuclear, you know, mutually assured destruction. And then we're all dead. So what am I trying to get at with all this? I'm trying to get at that in terms of stuff that's happening in society, especially with, you know, Russia and Ukraine and with the economy, because things are projected to get worse. Basically, and again, this is a blanket statement, but I've heard economically that things are getting worse to the point where, like, I do not understand how people who make minimum wage, who are in the lower class are surviving. And it kind of, to me, is being proved in the real world in my area. And I'm not going to say that for privacy reasons, but exactly where I am. But in my area, and in New York in general, New York, you ask most people in New York who aren't rich, and even those who are, you ask them, what do you think of New York? I think 99% of people will tell you it's shit. Everyone who lives in New York thinks it's shit. In New York City, in the 5 boroughs, at least. Upstate might be better, but who knows. But New York City is so shitty. People say, who actually come here, it's terrible. The tax is terrible, the crime is terrible, and the crime is getting worse. And this is what I mean. This is the example that proves it. The crime is actually getting really, really bad in New York City. I just said, people don't even care to enforce the mask mandate on the subway. People in general are just committing crimes and stealing and mugging and shooting and, doing all this stuff. I mean, just recently we had like a guy go into the subway and shoot I think over 15 people after smoke bombing different train cars, and he escaped. And then, things are so great technology-wise that no one could find him, even though there was a police station 2 blocks away almost. Because my coworker used to actually work there, because there's an Amazon near there, and that's his exact stop. So, if things were different, my coworker could have got shot. Thankfully, I don't think anyone died from it, so, thank goodness for that. But this man basically got away shooting all these people, and he just, I think he went through the tunnel. I think that's how he escaped. But you know how he was caught? Not through someone identifying him, not through someone, seeing him on camera, or the camera seeing him. He called in himself and said, I believe you're looking for me. He turned himself in, which makes you question, how are people able to do this? And, it's another debate on gun laws and everything of, how is he able to get a gun and do this. But regardless, I mean, he snuck in. He was very, not stupid with it. He snuck in looking like an MTA person, which kudos to him, that worked. But regardless, things are getting worse economically, and the lower class cannot afford stuff. And that ends up to more crime because, as my aunt told me, if people can't eat, they're going to start raiding and pillaging different stores and people to be able to survive. I apologize for laughing. I don't mean to laugh at anyone's, misfortunes or muggings. It's just funny to me. It's funny because of the vocabulary of raiding and pillaging. But regardless, this is going to be undoubtedly one of the longest cars I will probably ever do. But things are getting worse economically, which lead to people doing crimes, right? Because the lower class, with the money we're making, because I consider myself a part of the lower class just based on my income alone, regardless of what assets I have, my income is not enough to survive. I think it has a big deal to do with rent. I mean, look at me. I'm rent. This rant has gone definitely in a different direction now. I've focused it less on myself, more on the society part of why I think society is fucked. But again, I think most of the problems I have are with myself, but I already talked about that. So in terms of society, right? Society for the lower class is so bad that we don't make enough. And if you're on minimum and prices are increasing as much as they are for God knows whatever reason, right? I honestly, when I think about why prices are increasing, a lot of it has to do with gas, right? So there are some things that are just hard embedded in what we need, right? Water is one of them. If water becomes a scarcity, which, in some places it is, and I'm very fearful for that for the future, that's another thing. Going back to myself, right, and how I see things, my mind just thinks about all the bad things for the future. I can't stop it. I honestly can't. And I'll try and go back to, myself and why I'm sad and stuff like that, even though I think I covered it decently well, I hope. Again, I have no clue what I'm doing. But I think of all these things that are bad for the future, and I can't really find any good. And that's a big issue I'm having. But regardless, so once water, starts becoming a scarcity, you're going to see people really quick going animalistic, because water affects everything. Water affects literally everything. Water affects us. We can't do our day-to-day activities. Water affects, crops, which affects our food. If we don't have food and water, we die. That's it. Nothing else can happen. And a lot of food that gets produced, it's not necessarily just food. It's like, corn and stuff, or olives gets turned into oil. I believe corn gets turned into oil too. Like, a lot of stuff becomes other raw goods that society needs to have almost everything else function. I mean, again, you need food and water to have humans function, and if humans don't function, nothing else does in terms of our society. I mean, nature and stuff can still go on if we haven't already fucked the planet enough, which is another concern. Because, again, going back to the stuff that's happening in society that's stressing me out, I heard that environmentalists, handcuff themselves to chase building because they say if we don't change what we're doing with CO2 emissions and everything with the environment in 3 years or less, we are fucked as a planet. And that scares the bonkers out of me. And they, handcuff themselves to chase because JP Morgan, I believe, is one of the biggest, emitters of pollution. But I'm not sure. Don't quote me at that. I'm not getting sources for this. But regardless, is the Minecraft music still playing? Yeah, it is. Cool. I don't want to be here in just silence ranting. But, yeah, so in terms of, society and stuff, right? A lot of gas comes from Russia and Ukraine, and because of all the do they call them tariffs? Because of all the sanctions, that's what they call them, and stuff, we're not taking oil and stuff from Russia, and we need oil. The world needs oil. Oil is, again, one of the things, similar to food and water, that a lot of the world runs on, and without oil, we're going to be producing a lot less, which is jacking up prices. And when prices get jacked up, everything gets jacked up, because that's how economy works, or at least that's how I think it works. And the people, I think, in power at the Treasury, at least for the U.S., have no clue what they're doing, and they're doing things badly. There's this Asian guy I watch on YouTube that basically says, yeah, they're doing everything wrong. And he, from what I see, knows what he's talking about. He has a master's in accounting and everything, and he knows about economics. So, regardless, I think someone's fucking up, because things, I feel, for the common man are not going too well, and they're only getting worse. So, everything's going up in price. We have a potential World War III coming. Things do not seem like they're going to get better in terms of society stuff. And in terms of personal stuff, I don't think things are going to get better with me either. They're just going to get worse. And, a lot of things, again, let's switch back to, more of the personal stuff. A lot of things to me bother me that wouldn't necessarily bother other people, but I don't know. So this is kind of me speaking out of my ass, as is this whole video. But I get very upset by the position I'm in, which, makes me attempt, as I would like to say, even though a lot of people say what you're doing isn't even attempting. Well, it's attempting at the bare minimum. I attempt to try and learn new things by, looking online free stuff, because I'm a cheapo. I'm very cheap because I already think the economy is going to shit and I'm not making enough money. So I have to save money where I can, sometimes. So, I try, for instance, I'll give the example. I'll give a personal example. So I think I'm fucked with my job, right? So what's the common solution to this? Okay, learn something or try for better opportunity. I try and learn something new, which is accounting, and I hate it. And that's another thing. I hate a lot of things. I don't know what I like anymore. But I try and learn accounting, and then I don't like it. Even though I don't like it, I try and push through it every day I'm at work. Every day I'm at work, without fail, I will try and get through one page of accounting on the website that I'm using to study it for free, which is, actually, I would think a decent website, because I'm learning a lot about accounting, as much as I can retain at least. But regardless, I don't like it, so I'm not going too fast with it, because I'm also lazy. I think this part is definitely laziness. If I do not like something, I don't know how people do this, and I don't know how I did this. I guess because I had deadlines, but without a hard set deadline, I'm very, lax with things. But I don't know how people could do something they're not interested in or they don't like. If I'm not interested in or don't like something, I can go through it forcibly. I don't think I'm doing it well, and for the accounting thing, I definitely am not doing it well, I would say. Obviously, you're never the best and never the worst at something, but I feel like I'm definitely not good at what I'm doing in terms of how fast I'm learning accounting. But, I'm definitely not the worst. I am doing it, at least. But again, there's always a good and bad side to things. But regardless, without a deadline, I don't know how I would do things. I go to my job, and every day I told you, I think I'm going to get fired, and I want to quit so badly. But I can't quit. Oh boy, I think my family's going to bed. I'm going to have to say goodnight to them. I can't quit because I need money, and it's good to get money. Even though I'm getting, basically, I'm still going net negative, but regardless. I forgot where I was going with this. I forgot to rope myself back in. I went too off topic, and I lost my buoy that I was attached to. The idea that is the buoy that I was attached to in this ocean of ideas I'm having. But basically, to put it this way, with everything going on in society, it's making me think the future is just fucked. It's like, I feel like you're damned if you do, you're damned if you don't. So what do you do, right? And I feel like, you change your situation. Oh, I remember I was going with this. So you change your situation, you learn something, and then you do something to do better, right? You get more money, you put in the hard work, you do this. I don't know how people could put hard work into something that they don't like. I personally have no clue. I commend people and I respect them for doing something they don't like, because I don't know how I do it or how they do it. I can't really do it. I do it to the bare minimum with my job and with studying accounting, but in general, I don't know how people can do something they do not enjoy. I honestly don't. And the problem is I don't know what I enjoy anymore. And because I've also closed myself off to many things because I'm in such a bad mental state. Many people would say that reaction is kind of bad, and I would agree, but it's the reaction I'm having, and it's all I really know how to do. Because that gets into the fear part. Oh, hold on. Nah. Galinita. I have to say goodnight to my family. Anyway, regardless. I am so scared. And again, this goes into the illogical part of stuff. I am so scared about doing new things and trying new stuff that I don't do it. And again, it becomes a point of where I ask myself, do I need to get to a breaking point where I'm so fed up with how I am or where I'm at that I just say, I'm sick of it. I don't care anymore. I'm going to get over the fear and I'm going to do something new. And hopefully whatever I do that's new is good. And I don't resort to, bad ideas or anything, even though that's constantly on my mind. I hope it's something good, but I don't know if I'll ever get to that point. One of my biggest fears is it'll never get to that point, and I'll be stuck in an endless loop of I just don't like what I'm doing and I won't enjoy life, because I know that's possible. I know that is stuff that people go through, and I'm fearful that it's going to be with me too. Now, I'm not saying, my life is completely living hell, it's terrible, this and that, I hate it, even though I do. I hate it at a base level. A lot of my main, and this is where it becomes subjective again, right? It goes into the question of why do we live life? Why do we do the things we do, right? This world isn't perfect. There's good, there's bad, and good and bad are even subjective. There's no, right or wrong as defined by the universe. The universe doesn't define anything. And I'm saying this argument here without taking into account religion, because I don't believe in religion. Because religion at that point is what I think people think is the universal law of what's good and what's bad. Even though there's so many different religions, there's no hard set one. But I'm not going to go into that argument. That's a can of worms I do not want to open. Regardless, it calls into question, what's the meaning of life, right? What's the point? Why do we do the things we do? I would say it's in the pursuit of happiness. Now again, there's no actual answer. I don't know the answer to this. There is no answer to why do we do what we do. What's the meaning of life? There's no hard answer. It's what we make it to be. And it's not right or wrong, because there is no right and wrong involved in this, for the most part. So, why do I live my life, right? I can't say why other people live theirs. I would think that most people live theirs, whether they know it or not, under the doctrine of to seek pleasure. And that is a wide umbrella encompassing a lot of things. It encompasses, what gives you pleasure. Is it just the avoidance of pain, the avoidance of bad feelings? Or is it something more? Do you seek more? Which then brings into the question of the triangle. And if you don't know the triangle, or basically the pyramid, let me get it up. I will actually show this, because again, we're going so long and I usually do these a certain way, but this one, let's just say it's a bit different because I'm out of my mind right now. Excuse me. Fulfillment pyramid. So let me get Google up and let me show you guys. So this is basically the pyramid I am talking about. We'll put away the woodcock for now. This is the pyramid I'm talking about. So at the bottom is physiological needs. Food, water, warmth, rest, right? Every human seeks these first for the most part, because if you don't have these, you don't really live. You kind of are very likely for death, right? After you get food, water, warmth, and rest, you want permanence. You want security and safety. And mind you, this isn't all that, this isn't the end all be all. This isn't, a lot of people could argue, this isn't the fully accurate, or this needs to be improved, or this isn't, fully the right way of how humans are. And I would agree. But it does provide a good baseline. So let's keep going with this. Because again, like I said, I need to explain everything because I feel like I need validation. So let's keep going. So belongingness and love needs. So after you have food, water, warmth, rest, security, and safety, you want friends, you want intimate relationships. This is the part I'm struggling on. So the part that I think most people in America have is physiological. I don't think anyone in America has died from starvation, from what I've heard. Water is, at least for right now, still plentiful. Warmth, I mean, hey, the homeless are sleeping in the trains anyway, right next to me when I go to work every day, so I guess they have that. I guess most people have that. And rest, I mean, I honestly think, and this is the funny part, I think if you're unemployed, you get a lot more rest than you do employed. Ever since I've been employed, I've consistently, and again, this is on me, I don't think this is for everyone, but at least personally, I've gotten way less sleep. I get like 4 to 5 hours of sleep a day on a weekday, and a little bit more on a weekend. Partly because of stress, partly because I don't want my day to be so short in terms of what I want to do. Most of my day is taken up by my work because it's so far away, and then I do nothing there because there's no freaking, it's work. But regardless, so when I was unemployed, I slept a lot more, and I was happier because sleep is directly correlated to willpower, at least from what I've seen. So after that, you need esteem. This is kind of where I think the argument can begin of whether this is accurate or not. So you want prestige and feeling of accomplishment. I think this should be down here in belongingness. Because you don't feel like you belong, I feel, for a lot of people if you don't have a feeling of accomplishment. But whatever. And then self-actualization. This is the one I don't even fully grasp yet. Achieving one's full potential, including creative activities. I thought that would be an esteem. I personally think this triangle can be squished down to less different ones, or different levels, but that's just me. Let's go back to the woodcock. I think I got my whole point across with that for the most part. You guys didn't see that. Okay, good. So regardless, I think that for the most part, I lost exactly where I was at. God damn it! I'm telling you, this is all over the place. I don't know if I'm gonna post this, man. This is crazy. I hope I will. I think I've said a lot of good ideas that could help people, and if not, I have vented a lot. So even if I don't post it, I think I've gotten a good use out of it. But regardless, where was I at? See, this is why this would be great as a podcast, because then I could go off whatever someone else says. Because God knows I go to different places on my own, but if I had someone else here, they could remind me where we were at, hopefully. But I was talking about society and people and stuff, and myself. So let's just go back to a previous statement. So, like I said, things are subjective, especially with me. So, I think that in terms of myself, right, I don't know if it's because of what I've gone through or how I am, but I've been feeling really bad. And things are getting tough, and the worst part is, regardless of what will happen or what has happened or where I'm at, my mind doesn't think these things. Oh, okay, I remember where I was at. I was at, like, wanting to change stuff. So, I don't believe I'm strong enough to change things, right? Regardless of, like, the laziness getting involved, it's hugely fear. I remember where I was at the fear part. So, it's hugely fear, right? I have a lot of fear. So much so that it cripples me. And because of, like, me feeling this way, because, again, regardless of what I have, it's not what I want. Here's what I think I want. Let me lay it out here, because I've said it a lot of times, if I don't have what I want, what do I want? And this goes into morals of, like, and this, again, this is me being really bad with my mind and harsh on myself in general, but it then goes into a question of deserving. I think, do people deserve things? I think this world is very unfair. Just by how it is, it's unfair, I think. Then you have to question, what is fair, what's not fair, but let's not get too existential in here. So, I think the world is unfair because a lot of people have a lot of things that I want that I think they don't deserve. However, I personally, and this might sound really, really bad, I personally think I do not deserve anything. I think, and again, this is subjective. Many things are subjective, but what I'm about to say is subjective. I think that unless you are worth something, unless you provide something. Oh, I remember where I was at too with good and bad. We'll get back to it hopefully. I'm on this thought for right now. Unless you provide something, right? And this is the same reason why I don't want to get into a relationship. Partly because I feel like I'm not good enough and I don't provide anything. But right there, the fact that I don't provide anything, aside from things I think are not valuable, and that's just me personally, I don't think having someone to talk to and someone to listen to, I mean, it's valuable, but not in terms of a relationship. That should be in any relationship, and unfortunately it's not. But in any good relationship, I think that should just be there as a baseline. But aside from that, I don't provide anything else. In terms of society, I honestly think I'm a failure. And I don't know how to change it, and I think that I will just be a failure for the rest of my life. However, here's what I want, right? Now, I don't think I'm deserving of it. I think to be deserving of stuff, you have to either work hard for it or earn it, or at least provide some sort of benefit to someone, right? I think as humans, and again, this isn't hard stated by the world, because there's nothing that's, objective, good or bad, or this has to be the way it is, because reality is, I think, ultimately truly subjective. But I think in terms of humans should owe it to each other to have some sort of worth for the collective. I think greed is good. Greed helps us survive. Greed pushes things forward. Absolutely it does. Absolutely it's good. However, I also think that too much greed is bad. Too much of anything is bad. Too much generosity is bad. As a good friend of mine says, too much excess in any side is bad, and there's multiple sides to everything. Even with all the bad things I mentioned, you could find a good in them. Oh, I'm very introverted, I'm very scared, I'm very cheap, I'm all these bad things, I'm very fearful. At least I'm not getting, you could take it as good things too. At least I'm not getting into bad relationships where I could get even more fucked up in the head. At least I'm not spending stupidly and crazy, There's always a good and bad to things. It's just, which side is more excess than the other. You can always find good and bad. You can always find at least two sides to everything, I believe. But again, as my friend says, too much of one is very bad. So let me rope myself back in and figure out where I was. I forgot again. This is exactly what happens throughout my day. I have so many ideas that I just keep thinking and branch out to different other ideas, but I forget the main idea. I forget too much. Where was I? I was like good and bad. There's no objective shit. Okay. I'm just staring at the woodcock and its plumage. But in terms of myself, right? Because that's where I always get all my other ideas from. I feel like I'm a failure in society, this and that. And I'm very fearful. I'm trying to backtrack to see if I can remember where I was, man. Fuck. I mean, at this point, I doubt people will even be listening if I do post this, but I'm still going to try to say more stuff because there's a lot more stuff on my mind that I want to go into. If I had my way, I could honestly speak a very long time about different things. It's just I'd get too erratic with it. But, where was I? I've lost my whole train of thought. Let me eat this peach or this mango to take a quick breather. Let's take a quick breather. If this was a podcast, we'd have a little intermission right now. There we go. I'm feeling pressured now. Now I'm feeling like pressure from myself to provide good commentary. Because again, I feel like... Oh yeah, okay, so I remember where I was at. The mango helped. The mango helped. Oh, I almost choked on it. So regardless, I think humans owe it to themselves to help each other because it makes things better. Again, there's no objective good or bad, but in terms of reality, like let's talk, and not actual reality, let's talk like just society. In terms of society and how humans operate, we see things as good and bad, and humans helping each other the right ways with certain things, I think would just lead to greater off good. So that's definitely not where I want to end that thought off, but it ended off there because I don't remember the rest. So this is going on for a pretty long time already. Let me try and start ending it off. I mean, I'm pretty sure once I start ending it off, I'll have more ideas, but yeah, in general, I mean, let me talk about some of the other stuff. Oh yeah. Let me say what I wanted. That's where I was at. So here's what I want, right? And why I'm unhappy. I want as far as I know. Now, maybe once I get it, I could be very unhappy with this. Who knows? That might end up happening. But the problem is I don't even think I could get what I want. And that is one of the worst feelings in life. One of the worst feelings in life is wanting something, like your dream, and then knowing you won't be able to get it. It's the reason why I stream. Why I stream every day for years now without viewers is because, one, I have no better idea of what to do. Two, I really don't want to edit. And three, let's stay on two. When I did edit, I didn't get results. And I didn't edit for too long, but I'm not that good at editing. There's some things where you're just not good at them, or you're just not going to do them, right? Like, people know. Like, that's just the way some people are. Some people will just not be good at certain things. Like, you're either a coder, a software programmer, or you're not. Like, people might disagree with me on that one, and that's fine. But, I lost my train of thought again. This always is happening. And the worst part is, do I have another mango? Fuck. Oh, this is gonna be so sloppy. I feel so bad. Regardless. Yeah, so society needs to help each other. There's no objective good or bad. This isn't that. Oh my god. I don't know what's happening, man. This happens often, too, where I just forget my thought. Maybe it has to do something with my short-term memory. I can take an idea and I could just run with it. Like right now with the short-term memory, I could go like 100 different ideas with that, but I can't remember where I was at. This is so fucking upsetting, man. I'm getting very upset by this. Let me eat the little pieces of mango. Try and get some connections going on, because I know for a fact, this was studied, that if you eat certain foods while studying, if you eat those foods again, you remember what you were studying, because there's a connection that forms in the brain between that food that you tasted while you were studying and the thought of whatever you were researching or you were studying. I don't know if that made sense, but anyway. Yeah, here we go. I remember. The mango helped. See? The mango helped. I proved it. So what I want to be a big streamer. Now, what are the reasons for that, right? Why do I want these things? I like to say, and this goes back into what's the meaning of life. Oh, I'm back on track, baby. Let's go. This goes back into what's the meaning of life, right? Why do people live? I think people live to find happiness. Now, different people find happiness from different things. And I'm at the point where I don't know what gives me happiness. I know what I prefer over other things, but I don't know what gives me happiness. And the main way to find that, without figuring how to do it in terms of society's constraints of you need money, you need this, you need that. Because then people try to settle for things, which I hate. I don't think anyone should settle for anything, but unfortunately you need to, because that's how reality works. Regardless. I lost my thought again. Are you kidding me? Okay, wait, let me backtrack. You need to settle. Okay. Yeah. Okay, happiness. Okay, I'm back. I'm back where I was. So, people find happiness from different things, and if you don't know what makes you happy, the best thing to do, I don't know if it's the only thing to do, but the best thing to do is to try new things. Excuse me. The mango is not agreeing with me. The best thing to do is to try new things to find out if it makes you happy or not. But then that's when society's constraints come in. And if, in my case, it's like half and half. Well, it's not half and half, but it's part and part. It's part society's constraints of you need a job because you need money, because without money, you're not going to be able to test out different things that you want. And then that goes back into the problem of if you're lower class, you're not making enough money to survive, or you're barely making enough to survive. And then you don't really have time for new things because then you get exhausted mentally, or just, some people have a greater capacity for will than others, which is, again, one of my fears of, I feel like I have enough will to keep trudging through this, like, barren fucking hellscape that I'm trudging through with this, like, job. Because honestly, I will say definitively right now, I do hate my life. I honestly do. I do not like where I'm at, but the problem is I can't really change it. But let's go back to the original thought. So, people find happiness with different things. And if you don't know what makes you happy, you do different things to find out what makes you happy. Some people, again, this is not a guarantee you will find happiness this way. Some people won't ever find happiness. And I'm scared because I feel like I'm one of those people. But, it's even unfair to say that. Some people will think it's unfair for me to say that because I don't even try, which is true. I do not try. I do not try in a lot of ways. I do try in some ways subtly. Again, whether that's because of fear or laziness, I don't know. I would say more fear, but definitely a part laziness. Would you call it lazy if you don't want to do something you have no interest in? It's weird. Because then it calls into question, do you have the will? And I think it's a form of intelligence too to know, okay, you don't like this thing, but it's going to benefit you to the point of you will be able to do something you like eventually if you stick it through. But then you need willpower. So maybe I don't have willpower. I don't know if it's laziness. I don't know. I don't know anything. But regardless. I lost my train of thought again. Fuck. The train keeps getting derailed. But we're getting back on it quickly. I just need to remember. So, yeah, society's constraints come in, and then people can't find happiness, right? But let's just say you were making enough, or society was at a point where it wasn't so bad, even though I think it is now, or if it's not, it's getting to there soon. You know, you have to try new things, and I'm so scared I don't try new things. And I honestly don't know why I'm scared. At this point, it's gotten so bad. I really, really want to gain the strength to talk to a doctor about this. I don't know if I will. I don't know if I'm going to be a pussy. I honestly can say a lot more honest thoughts here. Because I feel like, and this is also another thing that gives me a sort of confidence to say this, is I don't think anyone will view this. So it's like, if no one's going to view it anyway, you know, the first question and the negative question that pops up in my mind is why even do it if no one's going to view it? And I've went over that, you know, hundreds of times in my other videos. It's like, you know, at that point, there's no reason not to do it, and there's no reason to do it, and you can make 100 reasons for both. It's just which one do you want to choose? And I hope the one I'm choosing, which is, you know, to do it, is the positive one, it is the right one, because at the end of the day, I do not want to do things that are bad or wrong. I'm not perfect, no one is. You know, I bully people sometimes, I make fun of people, I do things at others' expenses. I try not to, but I'm not perfect. I'm way from perfect. But, you know, I think striving, or trying to strive at least, because I don't think I'm striving for being good. I'm trying to, I think. You know, you can always talk the talk, but can you walk the walk? But regardless, I think that the big reason why I stream is because I don't want to give up on the dream I have of being a streamer. Now, what do I say when I want to be a streamer, right? Because that's what I want, and that's why I'm unhappy. And I'm unhappy because if I had all the money in the world, I often ask this to friends and coworkers alike of, you know, you don't know what you want to do, which people think they know what they want, or maybe they do know what they want and they're content with things. There's a question I have in my mind of, are people destined for some things? Or like, will this person have this thing that they will be 100% happy with, but they'll never find it, but they'll be 80% happy with this, as if I'm making up some arbitrary number that somehow exists in terms of happiness. But, you know, if they're happy at 80% with this profession, and I'm assuming like I'm God in this scenario or something, even though I'm not. But I know with this like job that they'll never get, but if they did get it, they would be 100% happy, but they'll never get it. Is it okay for them to stay in the place where they are 80% happy? Who knows? I can't answer that. It's honestly up to the person. I think, and this is a big thing, as long as you're not hurting anyone else, you know, things might be weird, things might be this or that. I don't think people should really fucking be so quick to judge, because, I mean, I don't blame them, because human beings judge each other all the time, whether we even actively do it or not. Even subconsciously, you will judge someone. I just don't think it should get in the way of how people are treated, as long as it doesn't affect anyone else, right? And I'm thinking of a very specific scenario from Yakuza that I saw. Or was it Yakuza? It's the one with Kiryu. It's one of those games where, like, Kiryu Kazuma finds, like, this group of Japanese gangsters who like to dress up like babies and go to these women who I'm assuming, I hope they pay. I mean, well, no, that's wrong for me to say. After what I'm saying right now, I don't hope. Well, I hope they do pay them, because then it, you know, helps the economy and those women. But they go to these women and pretend to be babies, and, like, that's their kink, right? They're not hurting anyone else. I don't think they're forcing the women to do it. So in that respect, right, it's really weird. Some people would even say it's sick, and it's curious to see, you know, if that is because of any mental stuff they have going on. What is the right word for it? Any, I don't want to say deficiencies because it's not deficiencies. I'm blanking out on a lot of words right now because my mind is like, it has 101 ideas and it's trying to get them out, but like they're getting blocked because only one idea could go out the chute at a time, or else I run the risk of falling off the train again. So, because I said that, I fell off the train. So, because, you know, of what they do, I remember, mental, like, whatever. So, mental issues. I don't know what sort of mental issues they might have because they want to do that, but at the end of the day, if people are doing something that doesn't really hurt anyone else, right, and all parties are consenting into whatever is happening, I don't think people should judge, right? I don't. I think people should be, I mean, they will judge, and they do have a right to judge. It's just, people are very harsh. This is one of my fears, too. I have a great fear of people. I went outside today, and, like, I'm always constantly judging myself. I know I was on one idea, but I'm going to switch to this one now because, you know, I'm switching ideas. This is a whole mess, but whatever. Like Bob Ross, we have happy accidents. Bob Ross was so cool. But anyway, we have happy little accidents. So I went out today, right? This is another example of like how fucked up my mind is now. And maybe it's because I'm isolated, because one thing that soothes the mind, it's knowing you're not alone when you go through stuff, right? But because I barely talk to anyone in my day because of fear of other people, I have a great fear of other people. And people in power. Oh my god, you should see me at my job. All my coworkers know this. I have great fear of people in positions of power. Again, I don't know why. I don't know the reason for that. I have some assumptions of maybe it's what happened to me in my past with people of power. Because I think everything can come from something in your past of how you act with stuff. But again, we're going into a lot of different ideas. Let's rope ourselves back. Because I didn't rope myself back fast enough and I fell off the train. Yeah, I went out today and I was wearing like comfortable clothes, but they were like, in my opinion, homeless people clothes. And I was going outside and I was seeing all these people and I was thinking like, man, they're looking at me, they're judging me, they must think I'm homeless. Why am I even out here? And this goes back to the idea I said about deserving, right? What people deserve. I don't think I deserve happiness personally. I don't think many people deserve a lot of the things they have or get. I think that to deserve happiness, you know, you need to provide a benefit or do something, or at least earn what you're doing. Well, at least mostly in terms of money, but see, a part of me disagrees. I feel like everyone should deserve happiness, but it then begs the question of what makes them happy. If they're happy from other people's suffering or at other people's expenses, I don't think that's good. But then what do you say to those people? Do you just kill them? I think killing people is bad, but in terms of, you know, logic and just looking at it mathematically and taking emotions out, sometimes it's good. I don't want to be like stupid Batman, because I think Batman's a fucking idiot, right? Batman leaves the Joker alive because he thinks if you kill someone, you're on the level of a villain, which makes some sense. But then if you don't kill them, I would say you're also being a villain if you know what they're gonna do. By letting the Joker roam free and not killing him, because, again, I don't agree with the death penalty, but I think locking them up forever is way better if you can guarantee they're gonna be locked away, but you can't really guarantee that. But anyway, I think that, Batman is stupid because if you know he's gonna kill someone and you're just, you know, locking him up, and you, I mean, this is a kind of bad example, but I feel like it could be applied real world-esque. If you know they're gonna go free and kill more people and you're not killing them, and this goes into different morals and what moral philosophy you believe, but you're kind of doing evil at that point if you know he's gonna kill people and you're not killing him. If you know for sure that's gonna happen, then why aren't you stopping it? But regardless, if people find happiness from other people's suffering, I think that's wrong. I think that's bad. I just don't know the answer to how to solve it. But I forgot where this went or where this came from. Happiness, what I wanted. Oh yeah, so I went out, right? And deserving too. I went out and I looked like a bum, and I felt like everyone was like watching me and judging me, even though at a certain point I don't care, but I do care enough to where it affects me mentally, because obviously I'm thinking about it and talking about it. So I thought like, wow, you know, I have no real worth in terms of what I can offer to anyone. I don't do a job that really offers any real service to anyone that's not easily replaceable or honestly like disposable. I think my job personally is a job because we do nothing all day for the most part. And, you know, for those of you who don't know, I work mailroom. my mailroom only delivers stuff to other mailrooms. They can honestly implement a system where they get all the mail. I don't know why they even have me there, because I don't know why we get some mail and their mailroom gets the majority of mail, but we get some mail. They can just honestly have it to where like they get all the mail and then they could just get rid of me and my job. So I don't provide any real benefit that's actually important to society. And then the question is, what does that do to your mental? And on the topic of society, as I said before, with all these stuff happening in society, it's making my mental worse, because it's making me more anxious and more fearful. So going back to what I was saying, if I can remember it, because I'm hopping off ideas so rapidly. I went outside and I felt really bad, right? Because I looked like homeless, and I basically thought to myself, I don't deserve to go out because I'm like an eyesore. And I guess that's just, me feeling bad for myself, me pitying myself. I honestly think even me talking about it is fucking disgusting. It makes me revolted just at how I am. But again, it's how I am, and I think as much as I've tried, even though I haven't really tried, I can't stop it. This is going in a bad direction. Now we're going into the real inner thoughts of my mind, which let's not go there. Yeah, so where was I at before this? Let me eat some more fruit to figure it out. Let's take a little breather. Let's relax. I'm eating a peach now. Okay. Like I said, because no one views these, I can do them, and it gives me the hope that someone will view this or can view it one day and get help from it, or that it helps me vent. So I'm not too sad about doing it. I hold myself to a lot of strict rules sometimes, especially with the cards. I'm thinking like, okay, they have to be this long, this much. I can't do this, this, and this in them. I have a lot of stuff that's wrong. But let's go back to what makes me happy. So, which I don't think I deserve, but we went over that. So I want to be a streamer, right? What is the reason I want to be a streamer? I asked this to my coworkers and stuff and people. If you had all the money in the world, if you were rich, what would you do? And most of the answers I get are, oh, I would travel. I would go here. I would do this. I would do that. I would try things out. And that's the biggest thing I think money affords someone, is the ability to try things with the safety net of, remember looking at the triangle, those base like things will be provided for you. Because even those now, I don't think are guaranteed anymore in our society. Or it's leading there, again, with all the stuff I said. So I think being rich provides you the opportunity to chase what you want and to try and be happy. Money does not buy happiness, but it helps you get there. Like, the people who say money does not buy happiness are probably poor people. The people who are rich, I think, are definitely more happy than the people who are poor. Granted, I don't think you could get to true happiness. You can't be happy all the time. That's just unrealistic. But you want to, like, maximize happiness while minimizing unhappiness, obviously. But you can't be happy all the time. And again, like I said, if you're happy because of things that are affecting other people or at others' expense, then I think that's kind of wrong. But regardless, so if people were rich, I asked them what would they do, and initially they'd be like, oh, I would buy what I've always wanted, this, and that. I would go places, I would travel, I would do stuff with my friends. And I'd be like, okay, yeah, that's fine. Maybe I'd do that too. But what would you do most of the time, right? Most of the time, what would you do after you do all the initial things you wanted with the money? What would your day-to-day be like? What would you do? I honestly think some people would just say like, oh, watch TV, do this, do that, right? And at that point, what I'm about to say kind of falls apart, but not really. But it half and half it does. At that point, I say, whatever you do after you have money, which can guarantee your needs and stuff, whatever you're going to do is what your job should be. Because that's obviously what you do to be happy because you have money. You're not doing it for money, you're doing it for an external reason, which I hope is the pursuit of happiness or the pursuit of finding happiness or something, right? So, for me, what I would do if I had money is I would play games. I maybe would move, like if you gave me Elon Musk money, I would probably move to California, move like somewhere good, maybe, even though I do like my neighborhood. Maybe I wouldn't even leave, I don't know. The next question is, would you actually do what you say you would do in the situation you're not in? Because you never know how you would actually react in that situation. It's the same thing people say, like, oh yeah, if there was an armed robber that came into the store, I would stop him. And then when it happens, they just freeze up. Because you don't know how you would actually react and what you would actually do in the situation. I'm saying that's a possibility with me as well. But regardless. With all the money in the world, I would play games. Right? And at that point, I'd want to stream them. Obviously, I want to stream and become a famous streamer now for the money. Just because I want money to be able to guarantee my life, you know, make sure my basic needs are attended for. But if I had all the money in the world, I would still probably stream just because I like the attention. I like interacting with people. I honestly do think I do like, and this is the hard part, I don't really think I do much to entertain people, but I think it's fun being around people. I honestly, I don't want to be this way, and I hate that humans are this way, of we're social creatures. I don't like it. I don't like the idea of it, because then it puts a reliance on other people, and I don't like other people. One, because a lot of people in the world, I believe, are evil and shitheads and assholes. They don't have to be all three at once. It could be exclusive, but I think sometimes people are all three. But, excuse me. I think that there are people out there that are cool, and going together with cool people and forming communities is great. And I think technology is, you know, as much as it has brought us together, it has broke us apart in terms of meaningful relationships. I believe that. I mean, look at how fucked kids are. A lot of the generations after me, I don't know how many there are now, maybe one, maybe two. A lot of the generations after me are more fucked socially than I am, and I think I'm fucked socially. I don't think, you know, I'm too good. But I think that technology has really, you know, made it worse. Fuck, I lost my whole train of thought because something fucking happened in Discord. But I think, what was I saying? I don't know how I keep losing my train of thought. This got so much worse. Yeah, so let me just go back to the streaming thing. So I would be happy streaming. That's where I was anyway. I'd be happy streaming because as much as I hate the fact that I need human interaction, I like it. I enjoy it when I get it, and when it's, you know, not bad, when it's not with, you know, bad people, when it's with people I enjoy and like being around, I enjoy it. The problem is I don't know how to do it. I don't know how to get more of it. I want more. You know, I would honestly say I'm a generally lonely person, and I, again, this is me going introspectively. Most of it is my fault with the way I act and the way I am. I think I drive people away, and that's why I have a rule of, if people want me, they'll come get me, because I'm honestly scared. I'm scared that if I go in there, if I go to someone without them inviting me, or if I don't invite them, or if I do invite them, even then, if I invite them or I just go into somewhere, even though they don't mind when I'm there, in my mind I think like, oh, I'm butting in, or like I'm there too much and I'm forcing it, and they'll get sick of me. I know it's an illogical thought, because I always tell people, tell me honestly if you don't want me there. I won't take any offense. I'll leave. I'll try to take no offense. Sometimes I will, but I'll try not to take offense. So it's weird. I want more interaction. So going back to the streaming thing, I would want to stream because I think honestly that's the life I would enjoy the most. And I think everyone, you know, enjoys to a certain extent getting what is it called? Not self gratification. Fuck. It's like when people agree with you. I don't want an echo chamber though, because that's really dangerous. I mean, everyone wants it, but I don't think everyone should get it. I don't want fans that, you know, make fun of me all the time, or fans that agree with me fully with everything, although that would feel nice. I don't think it should happen. I want realistic, and, you know, I want realistic things. And I know this probably won't happen, because I don't think I'll become a famous streamer, which upsets me greatly. But I think that I'd want to be a streamer just to have a nice community and do good things. I'd try to do good things. So the main reason is, it's because it's what I do. Even if I wasn't, you know, rich, or even if I was rich, I'm going to be playing games. So if I'm going to be playing games, I might as well, you know, do it for a living, even though I can't because I'm not entertaining or skilled enough, at least I think. Let's just get rid of that thinking for now. I would do it because it's what I do anyway. And I feel like, I think the biggest thing that sucks in this world is people are forced to do things they don't want to do. So, like I said before, if I was rich, I'd want to do streaming regardless. And then if it didn't work out, it didn't work out. You know, I'd still play games. I'd still want to do other things. I'd try to do other things. And then maybe then I would find something that potentially could make me more happier than streaming. But as of right now, what I want is I want to be a famous streamer. And for right now, just because I need to make money, and that's the way I could make money off it. But even if I wasn't making money, I'd try to be a famous streamer. I just don't think I'm as creative as German and stuff. But I'd stream just to chill. I think I want to be the streamer that is there for people who don't have anyone else to chill. Because I think that's what streamers and communities could be. I think they're just places of like-minded individuals who can talk to each other and experience things together. I think that'd be cool. I think that's what I'd want too. But regardless, that's what I want, and the problem I'm having is I don't see any way of me getting there. And everything else I think I could do, because I don't think I could do a lot, is going to make me miserable. And I basically think I'm going to be miserable for my whole life, and that's depressing me. And then when I think of ways to stop that or get out of it, I can't really find a way because of how I am, and I don't like how I am, and I'm not good. Basically, that was the idea I was trying to get out here in terms of the stuff I was talking about myself. So let's leave it there. Let's not complicate things further with that. Let me also say some news regarding the YouTube again. I doubt anyone cares, but I'll say it because I want to say it anyway. The YouTube videos might actually slow down. I mean, there was never actually a set schedule, for the fans at least, of the YouTube videos coming out. I always wanted the schedule of, like, you know, there's one video a week, which I still want there to be, but we're trying different things because at the end of the day, if I didn't try, I'd be even more depressed. And sometimes I don't even try because of fear, but with this, I'm going to force myself to try, and we've been trying different things behind the scenes, me and my manager and stuff. But we're trying different things of, like, editing certain types of videos and doing certain stuff and potentially new branding and stuff like that. I don't know if it'll go through with me. I don't think it will because I know how I am. But regardless, I don't think for a little bit there might be a guaranteed video a week. If we go back to the old system, if we stop trying new things or, like, go back to the drawing board, there'll probably be a new video every week. When it's said and done, the tried and true method that we've had, which, you know, produces no results, but it's what we've been used to, is the highlights of just my streams, and we take them and we put them into highlights. So that's happened, and we'll probably do that. But regardless, because of that, don't expect a video every week, even though that wasn't the expectation anyway. I'm just saying there might not be a video every week because we're trying new stuff, but if the stuff doesn't work out, we're gonna go back to that. Or if Hunter decides to not edit anymore, we're never gonna go back to that again, and maybe we'll go back to posting whole streams or nothing. I don't know. I'm in such a bad mental space. I'm honestly giving up on a lot of things at certain times. Like I said, as time goes on, I'm finding it harder and harder to do things I could do so easily, and I'm in such a bad and foul mood, and I'm honestly very upset with myself that it leads to, like I said, the whole cycle of me overthinking things and then stuff happening, and I just don't want to do anything. I want to just give up and sort of not be here anymore. I'm just gonna leave it there. I'm not gonna say that in any other way to not incriminate myself. But like I said, going to the original question, which I posed many times, that was said to me, is like, why are you sad? I think it's because it's all subjective, and I think my mind is sick. I think I'm sick. I think my mind is sick, not in any physical way, in mental ways. And I'm sad because I'm not getting the things that I want, and I don't think I could get them. And the things that I do have don't make me happy, and the things I'm doing are making me miserable. And the longer it goes on, the more miserable I'm getting, and I don't see a way out. So I basically just see an endless spiral into an abyss. That's basically where I'm at. But regardless, I'm going to leave it there. We've gone on for an hour and a half. I did not think this was going to be this long, but I took a chance for this one time and just spoke off the rip. So I hope, at the end of the day, like I said, I hope this can help someone. If it helps no one, which I'm assuming it will not or will do, that's, I guess, fine too. At least I was able to vent and distract my mind with something I guess, semi-positive for a little bit. I hope you guys enjoyed, and I'm going to get back to doing the same stuff and not really changing my situation. So I'm out of here. Hope you enjoyed.